Okay, cool. There's always like a couple seconds of Harry's like breathing or like yeah, one of these like hey, and then you go and then I have to edit out that part too.
It sounds like you're hunting flies in your own urban
software
bedroom.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are listening or if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that we look like three middle-aged fat guys who are starting a yoga cult at the moment.
So
which is
I'm the one that's immobile.
Yeah, because we're all sitting kind of squashed on some couch, which I thought would look good as a studio, but now looking back at it,
are you immediately regretting your idea?
I'm kind of regretting this.
You got to train your root chakra.
My root chakra.
That's the one between your balls and your asshole.
Oh, I was just thinking if that's the Australian chakra for fucking.
It is basically. That's where they'd say that is where you get your sexual energy going.
The amount of gooch squeezing Harry does on a daily basis. It's you're a gooch squeezer.
A gooch squeezer. How would you define?
Wait, a gooch clencher.
A gooch, like butt clenching.
Because like the chakra you're referring to is the gooch area.
Oh, like Kegels or something.
Yeah, imaginary ones.
Imaginary Kegels.
Yeah,
Harry, you could stick like a butt plug attached to like a 50-kilogram weight right between Harry's butt cheeks, and he'll be able to walk around fine.
Exactly, 'cause it's all about timing your cum. When you can clench it tight,
yeah, I've heard
you can
about
hold
this.
it.
It's a technique developed by incels for incels.
Should we put up a?
It's funny that people that never fuck come up with all these ideas, and I'm not referring to you here, Harry. Sadly, I know how much you fuck.
It's
disturbing.
Can I be honest? As a teenager, I did research that and I did try and use it for a while.
Really?
The Kegels.
The whole thing is like, as you orgasm, you're supposed to squeeze the fuck out of your gooch area.
Does that work?
No, it's bullshit.
It does kind of work.
Did you come faster?
Yeah. Too busy worried about clenching.
It's like you have more pressure through a tighter hole. It just bam.
Speaking of pressure, I had a little encounter the other day. I met my spirit animal at Zurich Hauptbahnhof a few days ago.
An SBB controller?
Worse.
I know.
So, okay, this is what happened. A few days ago, hang on.
I've lost
edit point.
Yeah, can you just rearrange the splicer?
Maybe we just...
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Cool. A few days ago, I was coming home from work, and I had to go somewhere else. Doesn't actually matter. I was at Hauptbahnhof Zurich, which in a late afternoon situation, everyone is really stressed out, right? So you have a lot of people coming and going. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to where the taxis wait.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that little parking area there?
Oh, yeah.
So all the taxis are lining up, and there is like, it feels like hundreds of them. Obviously, it's Zurich, so there's about 5. So I'm standing there. To my left, there is a whole group of train conductors just hanging out, smoking a ciggy,
talking about the Auslanders that kicked off the train.
Train vibes. So, to my right, there is a bunch of business people just waiting for their taxi. Right in front of me is an elderly gentleman, nicely dressed, like white pants, leather shoes, blue shirt, good-looking guy.
Money vibes.
And next to him is on the ground. There is one of those old type business suitcases that people used to have. You know when
brown. Like.
Yeah, it's like this properly formed suitcase where you would.
Yeah.
Back in the day when people had paper to carry around, briefcase. That's the word. Proper briefcase. So I'm standing there. I don't really watch the guy too much. I was just impressed that guy is wearing white trousers. 20 seconds later, I realize did you just switch off my microphone?
I was just turning you down. You were maxing out.
Okay. 20 seconds later, I see this guy pulling out a stick in front of everyone and just starting to piss in front of the taxi rank.
What?
Just straight up just in the middle of the street, just standing there, just having an easy go.
Just
Now
on the street,
on the street,
middle of the train.
middle of the day. To the left, there is a whole crew of SBB people. To the right, there is business people.
Just
I
works
think there
it
were
out.
some cops around as well. No one reacted, and he didn't just do like a quick squirt. He was full on letting it go.
Full on
he had
horse piss.
Pressure on that hose.
Are you serious?
100% serious. He proceeded to finish pissing and shaking it off.
Okay.
Nice.
Right? It's like a gentleman does.
like because the street's right there. He's pissing onto the street.
He's pissing not on the street where all the cars go, but on the taxi rank street.
Okay.
So he's like literally in between the taxis and the train station
Okay.
where everyone is waiting for taxis and everyone sees him. Like hundreds of people see him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just standing there. He doesn't even hide behind a pillar or
Nothing.
anything.
Nothing.
Middle, just letting it go. Then shakes it off.
Yeah.
Like
Just
a
like
proper
that.
gentleman, shakes it off, puts it back in, and then doesn't walk off.
Stands next to his piss.
Worse, sits down next to his piss.
Oh, so like on a bench or what?
Nope. On the ground. On the ground. It's like, you know, you have a little boardwalk situation there.
Yeah,
So he just sits down.
So he's above the piss. He's not
He's
in the piss.
above the piss. He's not sitting in the piss, but he's looking at what he's just done. And the little stream is going
Running.
down the street, running towards of the taxis.
Did he fold a little boat and put it on there?
How old?
It looked like he was reminiscing whilst he's looking his piss go away.
I think I understand this guy. How old was he?
I would say early 50s, maybe.
How big- how big-
Still working.
How big was it?
Oh, it was considerable.
There we go.
I think
It was a sizable gentleman.
Yeah.
the key is the briefcase. Is that this guy's hit a point in his life where things have moved on and left him behind, and he just doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Mm.
I think you're on this.
He's and I mean, I get it. At a certain point, what could be more joyful than watching your piss roll down a street like a nice little river? You can be like, I made that. It's like,
and he didn't look like
was he watching the piss?
He was watching the piss. He was considering what he just did.
Nice. This guy is
You know what I mean?
Mm.
He's sitting there and go like, well done. It was that kind
This
of. He had that face of slight exasperation because he just had to put some power into this move,
Mm.
but also confidence that he's done something right.
I love it. I love it. This is the greatest acts of demonstration I think I've ever heard. Like all these people that get out with their stupid fucking signs. No, just take a piss confidently. Like
It was one of the most confident pisses I've ever seen in my life.
I'm one of those dudes. I struggle if there's a dude standing next to me in the urinal. I cannot piss. Like the guy that he got his dick out on. That's Bahn. He's looking at Bahnhof. He's looking at one of the busiest places in Zurich. There's people crossing the road.
There is taxi drivers trying to not get their car wheels wet, getting out of the way to drive around his piss stream.
I mean, it wasn't like I'm just flashing, show people my
No.
dick. It wasn't a
No.
sexual.
He was very focused on getting that piss done, shaking it off so nothing goes on his white trousers, which then confused me even more. Why the fuck would he sit down on the dirty street? He's wearing white jeans.
I think I know what this guy is. He is a narco trafficker. When the briefcase is like, $2 million worth of whatever, and he just could not give a fuck. He
He's
just
like,
came from Mexico.
I can pay off all the cops in this train station.
Yeah, literally. He just came from Mexico where people were hanging from bridges. He doesn't give a
He
fuck.
was a good-looking rooster, man. It was like.
Do you look Swiss or what? Apply your racism, Christian.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
Yeah. Give us how brown was he on a scale of 1 to fucking racist?
Okay, so I can tell you exactly how brown. He was handicap 6 brown. He looked like a gentleman that spends a lot of his free time on a boat.
Oh, it's the wealthy guy. Vibes.
It's the wealthy
He's
brown.
so entitled that he can just take a piss wherever the fuck
It's
he
a
wants.
power move.
But I don't think he was rich. Like, maybe
That's the thing. The richest ones are the subtle ones.
Yeah.
Apart from the subtleness of his
He
penis.
dressed the part.
Yeah.
But there was not like the indicators would usually be like what, a watch and really expensive shoes or whatever.
No.
So he wasn't wearing a watch.
That makes him even like more suspectable.
That's the one, right?
Suspect.
And he wasn't wearing a lot of jewelry either.
Wait. I like that you know that you're fucking Sherlock. Wasn't wearing a what? You went and analysed the guy.
I had to. I mean,
But
I
it's
had a lot of time
yeah.
checking this situation out.
Uh-huh.
And I was just standing there. I stopped mid-step as well. When I saw him start pissing, I stopped walking and I was like, I want to see how this pans out. I just want to see what happens now.
Yeah.
I think, to me, it seems like the story I make of this guy, he's a guy that worked for some company fairly high up, but not top level. And now maybe he's even been fired, or he just knows his career's coming to an end. Because he's still got the briefcase. He's out of touch. And this is a power move. It's just like, first it's a power move that turned into Zen. So it's first the power of like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to piss on the street as a symbol of how much I think the whole thing is fucked. And then he sat down to Zen enjoy the beauty of
Actually
liquid.
having done something.
Yeah, and liquid, the way it travels down the street, and watch an ant drown in his piss.
That was the last portion of liquidity that he had.
And just to enjoy the chaos that he created as well.
You know what? It's nice to learn from people like this, because I've been in a situation once in my life where I had nothing left to lose. And the power and freedom that gives you is like unparamount to anything else. You know, you just like, for example, I was like dead as broke in the red. And for me, that's an issue. So at that moment, I felt like nothing can be taken from me. I don't owe nobody shit. I can't do shit. Nobody can do shit to me. You know, and that's like a real freedom. Hopefully he's feeling that. He's like, fuck it. I'm taking a piss.
Do you
right
reckon, like, I like where Harry's head is at about the briefcase, that he kind of like, time went on, but he didn't. So do you reckon he went to work despite not having work anymore for weeks because he had to pretend to a wife?
All right.
Maybe.
And this is the moment of realization where he's basically hitting that rock bottom that you described, where he goes like, everything is lost, might as well take a leak here.
Yeah, something of that nature, yeah.
Yeah, he's got to walk around town a bit to like scuff his shoes up, so it looks like he's actually been doing something. He's not sitting on a park bench somewhere.
Pretending to have arthritis in his fingers from typing.
Yeah.
But I say respect to the guy, because like most of these bankers that toss themselves out of windows, don't do that. Go down, take the lift down, piss on the street.
Much easier to clean up as well.
And it's a much more, the release is probably better.
And Zurich has a lot of experience with pissing on the streets. I mean, Street Parade is coming up very soon.
True.
It's the river just becomes a yellow river of piss and drugs. It's the worst.
You shouldn't swim in Lake Zurich for a week after Street Parade.
It's free hallucinations, guys. Just
hallucinate drunk
drink
elephants.
a liter of that lake water.
Oh. So I don't know what I want to call the guy, because in my head I have to give that guy a name. Just because for me it was a profound moment. Like, he stopped me in my tracks on my extremely busy Swiss life.
Yeah. Did nobody else notice?
Wait, I've got a new theory.
People did notice, but they chose not to react.
Okay.
A new theory. This is actually Christian having a hallucination. This is
Christian. This is one of those. Harry,
your mind created this person.
He's doing a fight. It's a Fight Club situation.
Oh my god!
Yes.
The pisser was me.
Yeah, it was actually you.
Oh wow!
It was you if you continued on your banking career.
That's funny. Yo, we are the XYZ podcast. I'm just starting it right now. I'm here with Christian Breaker.
Yo.
And Mr. Harry Fox.
Yo.
I'm Dean Arya. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube. Then you can see how fat we look today.
Yeah, and how much little space Christian's leaving me.
Yeah.
I cannot sit like you. Like,
his jeans are too tight.
No, my legs don't make
how
that.
How about
bend.
we get you to pivot in that direction?
There we go. Now everyone's comfortable. We've had a bit of a summer break, I guess you could call it, but actually it's just admin issues where Harry went to, where'd you go, Harry?
Paris.
Mr. Paris. Harry in Paris.
Le chat, c'est dans la piscine.
I love Paris. How was your experience there?
It was great. Well, actually, no, it wasn't. It was fucking. It was too fucking hot. It was 40
hot.
degrees. That place. Did 3 comedy shows there.
How do the French deal with heat? Apart from trying to fuck it.
A lot of them leave. So basically, the people that left are American tourists and all the people that they've imported from their former colonies. They're the only ones that can handle the heat.
Yeah.
But I had three nice shows there. I guess the scene is comparable to what's going on in Zurich in English. But those guys are cool. Any comedians listening to this, hit me up. I can connect you with people. And a big thanks to Jono, who's been on this podcast, and also Victor, Victor Petrashkan, who both gave some tips on who to talk to. There's an Instagram account called English Comedy in Paris. Let's get your English comedy shows. I've done all my pimping of their stuff now.
Nice. Okay. Thank God that's over.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued. Like, do they have a lot of punters going to the shows, or?
Actually, yeah. So I did. Okay. So let's get into it a little bit. The first show was in a cellar, nice venue.
The Au Chat Noir.
Au Chat Noir,
with
exactly.
Sam.
You've done Au Chat Noir.
Yeah, I've done those shows. This is great.
Yeah, that was a great venue. Then did a show at a place called Barbers, which is actually a proper comedy club. That blew my mind because they have a green room. They have the venue's nice with a nice round logo behind, like the Comedy House should have done ages ago, but they can't, despite the fact I've told them many times. But anyway, it's great venue. And the green room, they actually have this green room with like PlayStations and a TV. You can watch the stage.
Oh, wow.
While, like, when the green room's in a cellar down
So
below.
what did your OCD brain choose, the PlayStation or the screen?
I went straight upstairs to watch the crowd because I like to watch what a crowd's doing before a show. Yeah, I had to open the first 2 shows, which was an interesting choice by the hosts in both cases, but
a regretful choice.
No, it went okay, and there was a point. The show at Barbers. So
were you one of the few Germans that bombed in Paris?
I didn't. Okay, so what happened was the second
history there.
The second show, I didn't bomb, but what basically, like, of the material I've got, I've written too much about Switzerland, and going abroad, I have to rely a bit more on older, more sexual nature, content of more sexual nature, and.
And Paris wasn't up for the fucking?
Around about 8 minutes, there was a woman sat literally at the front who was shaking her head.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah.
I'll tell you why, it's too light. It's too light for the French. You're not hard enough.
I haven't seen the head shaking thing in a while, but it's always fun.
This was kind of a woke crowd as well. Like, this was a crowd that was definitely leaning to woke. It was mostly like early 20s and
it's your arch nemesis. Defining your tragic sex life as people being too woke.
I just say like women, just let me mansplain you and we'll all be better. Like, everyone, I've got things to tell.
Somebody's shaking their head right now.
Exactly.
I literally did. On behalf of
all the women
Paris
in
crowd.
And the third show was another bar, again in the cellar. That was a small crowd, but it was a cool show. And had a couple of guy from Los Angeles, Armando, who was doing a bunch of the shows. He was really good. He's been doing comedy about 10 years. The whole thing was nice. It was, recommend it. If you're a comedian thinking about going to Paris, do it when it's colder. That's
your recommendation?
Yeah.
I guess that kind of goes for Zurich at these days as well.
There's a thing called the Paris syndrome, I think it's called. You guys heard of this?
What? Comedy in Paris sucks?
No, I mean that's standard across Europe. No, okay, wait, hold up. The one show I did there, the host was this really nice Indian gentleman. It was hey, my cat's here. Really nice Indian gentleman, and he hosted the show. The show was really badly managed because like the mic broke and you had to like scream across the room. It was like
great.
His hosting skills back then weren't exactly on par with some that I've seen before. But then I was watching Wes Anderson film, The French Dispatch, and guess who's in it? That guy. And I was like,
Really?
what?
Fuck.
I want to get a hookup from that. But the Paris syndrome is when people.
Yeah, we got
This is
cat.
why we shouldn't put the cat in the studio. So Paris syndrome is when the idea of France and Paris becomes so romantic and lovely that when you get there, you're like, this is fucking sucks.
I've honestly, every time I've been to Paris 3 times, and in this also, like the city, way over fucking hyped. We did a lot of kind of sightseeing-ish things, and honestly, London's better than Paris.
That is not true. Paris is so much better than London. Paris is beautiful.
Wow. Okay. So, can we?
Here we are.
Paris is a heap of shit. It's just
No, it isn't. London's a heap of shit. What are you talking about?
London is
It's an amazing debate.
London turns its heap of shitness into something that's charming, with
That-
pubs and other stuff. Paris is just like, well, I was there. Like, I'm 40 degrees, too much concrete.
Oh, there you go. It's because it's hot. And that's the most British reaction I've ever heard. It's too hot. I don't like it.
I mean, I will say the food in Paris way better.
Yeah,
That's one.
London food shit, except
Yeah,
for
yeah.
fish and chip shop.
Okay,
And
that
the-
was us for the tourist attractions.
Yeah, there we go.
Across Europe.
This
Thank you very
podcast
much.
is-
That concludes our
Sponsored
tourist.
by Shitty Trip Advisor. Get your shitty trip advice from.
Yeah, 3 weeks of no podcasting, and here we are arguing about fucking Paris or
Which
London.
city is better? London's better.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But it did make me think for a second there.
Why
like,
leave home?
while it was so hot and I was watching comedy, and then I watched a bit of Bill Burr's special, and it just hit me. Maybe comedy is dead. That's my attempt
Wait.
at a segue.
This is-
when you watched Bill Burr special, really?
Yeah, because I mean, I watched some of Bill Burr's special. It's actually pretty good. But then, even though it's going well, like halfway through, I'm just like, I got better things to do, and then I did something else.
But
and
wait, isn't that because we are now in a situation where we are consuming comedy wrong?
We're consuming comedy differently. This is what Andrew Schultz has done with his whole short bits on YouTube. How he generated a special with 4 episodes of short segments.
That's my point. Is
We're losing attention.
okay? So here's my thesis: is that comedy is dead. I go beyond that in the sense of writing jokes, because the guy who's showing the way is none other than our very own Dr. Amit Bilge, who is fucking killing it with all these crowd work videos he's got. And if you think about it, if you think about for comedians, the work it takes to get a bit right versus doing some freestyle shit with a crowd, getting a funny bit, turning it into a 1-minute video, and the likes and attention you get off that is huge. He's killing it with those videos. Meanwhile, so you I don't know, I estimate probably first time I do a bit, I probably put 8 hours of work into it to get 2 minutes of material.
Yeah, sure.
And so think about the amount of work to do a 1-hour show. That's an insane level of effort.
This has been bugging you a lot lately.
Versus, no. It's just the fact that also audiences, I think, okay, one thing is Netflix is the wrong place for it. Even anywhere online, who wants to watch anything that takes more than like 10 minutes is like absolute limit. And then also in a crowd where you see someone come up with let me tell you a really boring story from my past, and you can see the crowd just like
Glazing over.
going into their special place, versus like what gets the biggest laughs at comedy shows. Yes, it can be material, but stuff where the crowd is involved, people want interaction. They don't want to be passive consumers of content anymore.
I wonder of the three of us whose philosophy that's been since the beginning. Did you read this in a comedy Bible?
No, I didn't read it in a
No,
comedy
you
Bible.
fucking didn't.
It just hit me looking at Amit killing it. I mean, and the other interesting thing I think with what Amit's doing is I've heard people, and I've also said to himself, like, technically you're on the borderline of what you're allowed to do. You should ask people for permission.
signing a release.
But the flip side is everyone wants to have everyone's fucking sharing shit about themselves all the time.
Well, yeah,
They want to
don't
be
have
there.
to say
It's like their little moment of fame to have their name made fun of on TikTok.
Can we
and-
quickly go to the Netflix argument, because that to me is fascinating. It's when Netflix started to pumping cash into stand-up comedy, I was actually quite excited. I was like, this is fantastic because it gives underrated comedians finally a platform to be known in a bigger global marketplace.
Dave Chappelle.
Shit, actually, it turns out.
Well, okay, but we're not quite there yet. So let's say it's 2017. Netflix is pumping out a bunch of really cool specials. Then these shorter specials are coming out. Do you remember? Like they did a whole bit about international stand-ups all around the globe. They had this whole set with Nikki Glaser and a bunch of other shady characters, and these were super fun. Like Taylor Tomlinson wouldn't have a career if it weren't for Netflix. I'm saying this. I'm not sure if this holds too much water, but I think so. That like a lot of people have seen comics that they otherwise would have never gotten in touch with comedy. Like I still think that there is a whole group of people that go to a comedy club maybe once in their life, maybe.
Yeah.
The people that go to watch live comedy regularly, I think that's a very, very low percentage
Yeah.
of people.
of dorks.
Yeah,
And groupies.
literally.
Yeah.
It's like comedy bunnies. What do we call them? Chuckle fuckers.
Yeah. Giggle sluts.
So
Oh my god. But that's our audience that you're insulting.
Yeah. Legit.
Shout out to the chuckle fuckers.
so
You know your name now.
but then it seemed like the tide turned, and I don't think it had anything to do with COVID either, because now specials have become a bit more like saccharine. It's just it doesn't hit that hard anymore.
I disagree because recently, like okay, I know I bang on about Andrew Schultz sometimes, love him or hate him, but he definitely changed the game like twice now in a weird way.
Yeah.
And with his recent special, so he sold his special to an unnamed, what do you call it? Unnamed streaming service, right? We don't know which one, but regardless, they asked him to cut out some of his stuff. And he's a stubborn asshole. So he was like, fuck these guys. And he bought his special back, spent his life savings buying it back, right? And then he's launched it online. You can go check it out, andrewschultz.com. Obviously, I'm plugging him for free because I'm a big fan. I say for free like anyone's ever paid us to do anything. Anyway, he's made 3 times his money back by giving the audience like real authentic comedy, and thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of people streaming it at the same time when it released, and they're still making sales from it, which is insane. So it's like now you don't have to listen to big business. You don't have to kind of do what producers say. You can just put it out there and the people will decide.
Exactly.
What they actually want to watch.
Exactly. And according to him, because like he doesn't pull punches, and Andrew Schultz is like a great crowd work comedian along with like great, written material. And he's made a huge success because like it's the people, the audience, his fans, his audience are going, we love this, we're going to pay for it.
And there's 2 factors there. Like we're going into a comedy business rabbit hole, but like I think one thing is you've got the Comedy Centrals of this world who followed the same path as movie distribution, with this whole retarded thing of like, yeah, you can watch it in the US, but you can't watch it in the rest of the world.
Oh yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
And Andrew Schultz has a global fan base. It's like, it makes total sense. Just fucking get that to everyone all at once, because that's when you do the marketing and the hype is there. Like people living in like a US citizen in Switzerland probably has a VPN, but he doesn't want to.
Yeah, VPN.
Yeah, which is...
And now from today's sponsor, NordVPN.
Exactly. It's insane that you need VPNs to get around this shit. I think the other thing is Netflix, like their first comedy specials, they were banking on big names.
Yeah, of
And-
course they did, but but Netflix behaved like a spoiled comedy club.
Yeah.
When they gave spotlights to trans-hating comedians.
Well, but Patton
Okay,
Oswalt.
that's a side note because that's a lie.
That's not a lie.
It is an absolute lie.
Like-
Dave Chappelle does not hate trans
Yeah,
at all.
I know he doesn't, but like,
let's not have this debate.
yes,
here.
okay.
It was
So-
just every idiot. Like every idiot, it's just that I read a headline and
No,
therefore it's true.
Okay, the truth is this: it's like he's one of the greatest comedians, quote unquote. You know, why is he writing about fucking trans people? Just write something else, man. Write something funny. I think
Okay.
it's just a it's just a hot topic. You dive in for clicks. And
Anyway, let's move on from
Sellouts.
this because it doesn't.
It's
It doesn't
it
add
sidelines
anything.
the whole conversation.
But they did this right. So they brought Chappelle back. They have Patton Oswalt. They did a bunch of things with big names, and then they brought in lesser comedians. Well, lesser comedians in the name only, because like hardworking comedians that are really really good, but they didn't have the name recognition that Chappelle had, for example.
I think
They did exactly the same thing like a comedy club would.
Yeah, but I think it's okay to bring on lesser comedians if they've got a good special. And some of them have. Like I've seen a few where it's like, wow, that was like some comedy that blew my mind. But I've seen other stuff where it's like, this is like I've seen better performances in Zurich. And you've got stuff. I think what happened
Really, that statement was filled with so much self-hate.
yeah, but it's true but I mean, and I think also what happened is the big names realized in the last year that this shit is closing, so they've gone for cash grab. A good example is Ali Wong's latest special, which is really I loved Ali Wong, and this last special is just like
this last special was great.
and it was like what serious. I was like, seriously, Ali.
Why don't you go watch Dave Chappelle and
Oh my God.
Ricky Gervais fucking complain about
I don't like Ricky
women
Gervais.
in the men's bathroom.
Weirdly, I don't really like Ricky Gervais. I've always found his stuff kind of
too
boring.
British.
So
for you?
what do you think then?
But
My viewpoint was Netflix was beneficial for us as the very lesser comedians because it brought a wider attention to the concept of stand-up comedy. I actually do think that there is a lot of people in Zurich that went to watch comedy because there is stand-up comedy on Netflix.
maybe that's probably true.
Also, because they saw some, overweight Turkish guy making jokes on TikTok.
But no, but so this
Also
is
true.
this is Harry's argument now, right? This is Harry's argument. It's like, what type of comedy is that? So because I'm a strong believer that comedy is supposed to be in a room. It's not supposed to be watched on television. I think there's a lot of things that are wrong with specials that are being put out on small screens. I think comedy is supposed to be in a room, and that room is preferably small and dingy. That's how comedy should work, really.
But also to me, there's the fascination of why are comedians all working towards creating this 1 hour special when that format's basically dead. That's to me the fascinating thing because like, okay, the dream is that you fill a stadium and then you want to do a 1 hour show, fine. And then maybe as a byproduct of that, you produce a special that you can sell for a bunch of money. Okay. But the thing is like all the effort that it creates to do that 1 hour show, you can also just do something like Amit's going to be able to do basically 15 minutes of material and 1 hour of crowd work. And people will love the fuck out of that. and which is actually, funny enough, what he does every time in Kontiki. While bailing us out at 5 minutes. Like, oops, shit. I said something. I love you, man. You know I did. But
Well, you run your own show as well. No one's stopping you from being.
Yeah, no. I mean,
wait, just your skills. That's
I've
all.
got to give credit to Amit. He's brilliant at crowd work now. I've seen him improve. He's so good at that shit. And I got to give him full credit. He's pumping out the videos. It's working out well for him. Genius. And he's been recording this footage, just doing it.
But
Right, I do.
so
I think
basically,
he's
are you
gonna-
making an argument that comedy isn't dead? It's just now.
It's reinventing itself. So it's really comedy is the long live comedy. Is that the stuff we want to consume on our phones needs to feel like a meme. It's like you want, like Victor Petrashkan put out this. He put out a video today about strangers. It's like we gotta love strangers, don't hate strangers, because you can go on a date with a stranger, and it didn't. I'm butchering it, but he goes, you weren't concerned that you had a stranger's teeth near your genitals, and that idea is like, yeah, that's in less than 1 minute, he put an idea out there, a comedy idea, which is fascinating. It's like, it's crazy how we're like, hate all these people and fear and whatever. But if someone offers to put your dick in their mouth, you don't know they're not going to bite your dick off. And so like that moment of comedy that makes you go, wow, that really, like something that you just said made me see the world in a different way, which is a big part of the best comedy.
I think all of this is wrong in terms of we have to look at it. What is shaping the comedy now? It's not the comedians anymore. It's the audience, for sure.
Yeah.
This is how everyone, like the way people are viewing media.
Oh,
That's that's changing, because we're all goldfish. We can't put out a special now. And people who do probably don't make as much success. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're saying is when that woman was shaking her head in Paris, I should have actually just done crowd work with her.
Yeah. Or you
And
should have not
bailed
written
on-
that joke or something.
Failed on
I
the
know
bit.
that you would have to.
No,
yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, that's also part of the thing. It's like you come with some stuff. No one wants to watch someone recite stuff on stage.
100%.
And comedians get good at faking the fact that it's live. But I've heard a bunch of people say, let me tell you about where I was born and my whole life history. And it's like, no one gives a fuck. Why are you stood here telling us? Like, I've got enough info in my brain to worry about your fucking backstory.
I think the
Make me
point
laugh.
is that the audience is deciding what's the level of funny in the
That-
world, and it's about
That's a
your
genius
job
point.
at like showing your perspective, and then they'll decide. So for example, like our podcast, like we just have exes listening to us.
What exes?
Yeah, like ex-partners.
Oh, true. Oh, shit.
And they're defining. We can't let them decide. We can't let them decide. Harry, like, you know how, okay, I'm not going to
Let's
give
not-
nothing
let's
away.
not
I'm not
go
even going to
into
go
that.
there. I won't go there, don't worry. But I also got reached out from an ex of mine, and she thinks we're hilarious. So that's great. That should make you feel a bit
Respect
better.
to you for having a good relationship with your exes.
Yeah.
I admire that. I really. It took me most of my life, like the last 3-4 years. I think I've been doing okay.
Okay, that's good.
Like
cool.
you're still, you can say,
Yeah.
hey, how you doing?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not-
What's up? Remember when
and
I
not
used
be
to? Oh
worried
yeah, that was good. That was
they're
good.
gonna stab you in the face.
Imagine you had that for live comedy though, like you perform in a room like
just with exes.
I don't know 100 people, and
Is
then
that
the
how
front.
many exes you have?
No, just the front row. All your exes sit in the front row.
Like the first X-Ways live show where
That
Yes.
was exactly what you had.
that's what I dealt with.
But that's something, because I mean, the interesting point there is, I think what Amit has stumbled into partly, but cracked, is that being a master at crowd work is a key thing, because then you can basically just invent a show out of nothing.
Look, I've always had the thing, and I've told you guys before. The funniest dude in the room has no material. Gets
Yeah.
on stage with nothing.
I had that with Barcelona. There's this guy Filippo, Italian comedian. He's actually a bit of a star in Italy, I've later discovered. He's on TV all the time there. But this guy is one of the funniest people I've seen in a long time. He's a comedian that tours around Europe. And after the show, it's just like, there wasn't a second where you're not laughing at him, even when he's not doing material. And he said he was in Berlin. He started getting up on stage with no material. And he said it sucked ass for about 8 months.
Mm.
Then he started to figure it out. And he's doing all kinds of crazy shit. Like he like at the start, take the mic out of the stand and then be looking for somewhere to put the stand. and then eventually just hand it to the audience. Like, you take this, you figure it out.
Yeah,
And-
Robin Williams kind of did that in the beginning of his career too. He was a mime in New York City.
Yeah, that's where his physical comedy.
Yeah,
came from.
for years. So you got to be quick and creative with that kind
Imagine doing a setup punchline as a mime.
of stuff.
I mean, the obvious punchline is that someone punches you in the face, but it's just that to me is fucking wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's interesting. It reminds me of a show. I once saw this guy, a guy called Dominic Grollimont, who's a Swiss entrepreneur. And he was at a startup event where they wanted to know about his startup. Everyone else had these like 20-minute slide deck things. He just got up on stage and gave the one-line pitch of what the company is. He just goes, blah, 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 questions? And his was the greatest thing ever. People saying like, okay, how many users do you have? Like, all the stuff people actually wanted to know. He just answered. And it was, I mean, again, it's like interactive. It's like, it's like, instead of this boring in a corporate context, like press slides, whatever, just tell people the idea and say, and? Maybe that's, maybe.
But Harry, would you to put that in the context of a live comedy show, you would still go and watch a comedian do an hour, would you? Live.
It's getting tougher for me because as a comedian, I'm starting to deconstruct people's thing. So
Clearly, that's what we've done
even-
now in the podcast for the last half hour. But
yeah, but even like it used to be. First time I saw Louis. You ready?
Go
Okay,
for it,
good.
dude.
First time I saw Louis in Basel. First time I saw Louis in Basel, I was like, wow, like watching his stuff. Second time I saw him, I'm like analyzing. So it's like once you've gone enough down a comedy rabbit hole, there aren't many comedians that you still magic you with how good they are. Because you're starting to break down, oh, you did that, that was that. Oh, and you go like, oh, that was nicely done on something I already understand. Do you know what I mean?
okay,
I bet he could shock and awe you by just whipping out his cock on stage and jacking off in front of you.
If it's as big as it's supposed to be. I'm like, God damn, Louis, rain some of that comedy
Ew.
glory on me.
Ew.
So,
I'm glad it's consensual with you.
that would be fantastic. If he did that I've got a comedy career. I say, Louis, I will not out you or me to you if you let me headline your show for a year.
fuck me dead.
Like anyone's gonna believe you, Harry.
It's going to suck for the first few months until I finally figure it out. And then I'll be whipping out my dick too. That would actually be hilarious if Louis C.K. had me headlining. Like a guy that kind of looks like a Louis C.K. wannabe. Just
it's like a thin impersonator.
yeah. I'm like Louis after the keto diet or something.
The cancer treatment.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, but I think you're completely right, actually, Dean. But it's hard to like. How do you get?
Let's answer
How do
all
you-
of the questions.
How do you
Harry.
get the training on that? I mean, well, Amit's nailed it because he's had so much airtime on hosting, and he's worked out this stuff that he's like that on finding a funny. Like he's got that video, for example, about this. You've seen the one with the woman named Jihad.
Yeah.
Now, I was just thinking about what my reaction to. Have you seen it as well?
Yes.
So my reaction, I would have gone into the backstory of why the parents did that, which would have been possibly funny, but also have been dark and not something that you can share on social media. Because I would have been like, was your dad like, I want to send a jihad to university or something? I don't know. And Amit managed to play with it in such a light-hearted way, instinctively, and not go to something dark. I think he nailed it.
But also, you're overanalyzing it like you do a lot of stuff, you know?
Yeah, but yes and no.
And also, your personality is really dark. So, of course, it's going to go that way.
That's true. That's true.
But that's what makes you you. And that's what would make it funny. Like, if you found the right way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact, like, also I tend to go too quickly into sex. Actually, Chris called me up on that because he said like you alienate.
A lot of your
incredible-
ex-girlfriend says that.
Yeah.
It's called
They-
lubrication, Harry.
And if they'd put out more, it would have continued.
Fuck me.
So no, but the thing is, like, it's like you alienate the crowd by going too quickly to. Like, you got to be gentle and imply.
Yeah, but that's his kind of method of warming them up and making them come. You know, it's everyone's got their own
True.
way of doing things.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, you have to work your way to fist.
Some of us just straight in there.
That can tear. You know?
It's
like,
a fine line. If it doesn't tear, it's a good feeling. My friend.
You gotta pick. you gotta start with at least a 40-year-old MILF if you're going straight to the fist. They've been loosened up.
I just want to hold hands with Christian inside Harry.
I so want to kill myself.
There needs to be a logo of like hands held inside a butt, like a kind of a let's come together, like save the world type of thing.
It's the next organization for, like,
just Sassel fucking the world, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
the anti-NATO.
We're into this together, guys.
It's like, oh yeah, the Chernobyl cleanup fund.
Yeah.
Just
It's America and Russia, you know, combining forces.
in a big asshole.
Yeah, that's in China, you know.
God.
Got him.
Oh,
Got him.
Now the NSA is listening. Welcome, guys.
Yeah. Hey, guys. Thanks for listening. My name is Dean Ira. My real name is, my social security number is, you know,
It would be fascinating.
69.
69. You can call me at 055. Fuck
420.
you. 420.
Do you know what would be great? Is if the NSA released like a podcast of all the recordings they have of people go, now the NSA is listening.
That would be fucking
That would
fantastic.
that would probably be one of the funniest things ever.
Well, I just go back to the statistics, and suddenly you have a real listener growth in Virginia.
How do you know we're in Virginia? What the fuck
I've
was
seen
that?
the movies. Fuck, there's.
Yeah.
Can I go somewhere else briefly?
Please.
No,
do.
we talking
I think we
because
exhausted this.
you inspired something in terms of like, is comedy dead? Right? What does that mean? Okay, there's a reinvention of stuff. I also think not just in comedy, but generally when it comes to putting shit out there for people to consume, there's a lot of shitty recycling going on right now. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on the 9th of August, a book will be released by a director called Michael Mann.
Okay.
And the book...
Wait, is Michael Mann the WWE?
Heat. He did Heat.
He did Heat.
Oh,
He did
Bunch
Black
of
Cat. He did...
I thought he was the WWE announcer.
No.
Michael Mann.
Michael Mann did Miami Vice,
Okay.
the TV series and the movie.
Whoa.
And fucking amazing. One of the most amazing directors in my humble opinion. His book will be called Heat 2.
Okay.
So here, this is my thinking. Why the fuck do we have to redo the same thing all the time? Is it just money? Can he not just, because I know that he has a lot of great ideas.
I see what you're getting into.
Do you know what?
Yeah, because it's like the argument that everything in the world has ever been thought of has been done, right? So that's why like Disney's stuck making the Jungle Book live action. You know, it's like live action remakes
And
or
this-
this
the-
remake and that remake.
The
And they
Lion
don't-
King live action,
The Lion King,
whatever.
We've
fucking-
seen all these stories. The archetypes are all there and they're all timeless, but they like just a constant kind of remix of this bullshit. And then it's like the comparison between I don't know who did this, but somebody compared Star Wars and Harry Potter. How it's like some, you know, orphan kid lives with his uncle and he gets introduced to a magic of some kind later on in his life and his uncle hates it, you know, and there's like a protagonist who's also soft and vulnerable and they apply it to the exact same storylines. It's like standard archetypal stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why, for example, the kids rather watch and read anime these days because the
Yes,
storylines.
new stories. But then
Exactly.
America
It's
comes in
actual
and
stories.
remixes them anyway. Whatever. Recycling's fine. I've been doing the same jokes for 2 years.
No, but to me, there's two things. It's kind of like recycling and redoing it better, like stealing and making it better, and all that sort of stuff. That's
Yeah.
a constant thing that brings us forward. Not just again, that applies to most things. Like Apple is today because they stole heaps of ideas from other producers and made it their own. Yes, absolutely. But combined, it becomes something new.
Yeah.
What I see is I see this in comedy quite a bunch, and in movie making anyway, where someone made a lot of money with one idea, and that one idea only, and then it becomes that time and time again, and
Yeah.
you cannot break out from this.
Yeah.
And there is very few people, and again, I don't think that applies to Michael Mann. I just don't understand why he would do this. Why he would reconsider a story from nearly 30 years
But
ago
he's
now?
writing a book called Heat 2 about a biography.
No,
He's writing a book.
he's
called-
writing a book in the universe of Heat, where the story of Heat is going to be revisited in a different angle, and he's basically claiming that. You can listen to a very long Mark Maron podcast about this. He's basically claiming that he always had an idea that this should be a bigger story than just the one Slither that was put out on film, which was an amazing movie. You don't want to hold that against him. I just don't think that that's necessary. I think you can be creative and let something that's been good be and move on and go to a different story.
But I think that the whole thing is like a risk aversion / comfort zone problem. And okay, Heat 2, I can understand maybe it's the exception that proves the rule. Like Michael Mann might actually be right that in this one case, it actually is something you can do more with. But for like everything else, it's just simply you've got all these middle managers and people making money, and if you come with like some crazy idea, I mean, ironically, that's what they always said about Star Wars, is it got rejected many times as being too wacky because it didn't fit the current formats, and then they found some weird way to produce it, and it was the biggest hit ever.
And now Disney's just fucking
Fucking it up the
reopening
ass.
They're just turning it into utter shite.
Yeah, totally.
But
It has become. This is a great example, by the way. That's exactly what has happened with all these weird TV shows, where it's just like, oh fuck me, I actually have no interest to watch this anymore. I did force myself to watch the latest TV show that they produced with Kenobi. Was it called?
Yeah,
What a piece of garbage.
agreed.
I didn't finish it, and I usually force myself to finish these sort of things. I didn't. I don't want to go there anymore.
Even the Boba Fett series was a little
Yeah.
bit.
that was fairly painful. But I think the thing is, it's also like, you know, that old song, the video killed the radio star, that we believe that it's the new medium that kills the old medium. I actually disagree with that. It's I think first the new medium comes along, and then the old medium commits harikiri, like having fucking.
This is why you're a fan of TikTok.
Well, yeah, but fucking 3D cinemas with chairs that shake.
No, that's never gonna work. It was the worst experience of my life.
Exactly.
Did
And they
some
thought
dinosaur jizz in your face there as well?
Stop it.
So weird.
There's a character brushing a broom on stage and I can feel it. Like, fuck off.
And it's like people go, oh, the internet has stopped people going to the cinema. No, it fucking isn't. It's because you made vibrating chairs and jizz in my face.
And the popcorn's like 10 times
And-
more expensive than the one at home, you know?
And the fucking 3D gives me a migraine. It's like, you had a
calm
good
down.
thing.
Calm down with your fucking buttered popcorn. What? Okay, I got a thing to pick with Switzerland. Why do they eat nachos in the cinema?
Yeah, it's a dumb idea. I don't
Dude,
know.
this is the dumbest
It's the
thing.
dumbest
I've
fucking
ever-
idea.
Okay, no jokes. The people here don't buy popcorn as much. They buy nachos with cheese melted on it. Like, how do you eat in a dark room? First of all, now you're stuck in a room with somebody eating nachos. The whole room stinks of fucking cheese. You know, typical Swiss fashion.
Welcome
and then
to
how do you
Switzerland.
eat dripping cheese in the dark?
Yeah, but
I don't understand.
you need the cheese to stop the crunch of the nacho.
Yeah, but
That's-
what's fuck
Yeah,
me?
basically,
Otherwise, it'd be
it's
a
nacho
sound.
lubricant.
It would be a sound violation.
Yeah, but the movie's too loud and the crunching's too loud. You know?
yeah, exactly.
God damn it.
And the other one is like newspapers, for example. They're like, the internet's killing newspapers. It's because you stuck fucking ads over it, and then that final pop-up that appears 10 seconds as I'm going again to the article. It's like, fuck off with your shit. Put an article online, and stop asking me to fucking subscribe to shit with your fuck. And it's just they're committing harakiri. Like, people would read newspapers if they were fucking readable. It's all of these businesses that are dying because the new medium came along. I think, and my theory is, it's basically what happens is the genuinely smart, talented people all get sucked into the new medium, and what's left?
What, BuzzFeed?
Or whatever it might be, and then what's left is some idiot that go, oh, you know what? We could save cinema with like vibrating chairs.
That was clearly a guy from the 80s on cocaine. Like, if you come up with this idea, it's so fucking dumb. It's like, I seen a roller coaster once that was a cinema on stilts.
Yeah.
And no, you actually just reinvented the flight simulator, you fucking idiot.
Exactly. And he had that idea in the 80s. For 20 years, everyone said that's a dumb fucking idea. Never going to happen. All of those people then left to go to some like Netflix streaming thing. And this guy was like, finally,
That's my moment.
I can make a vibrating chair in the cinema.
Fuck THX. I have
And
shaky chair.
I love complaining about these, like, you know, people who are stuck on the dying medium, you know, sitting here with two other middle-aged white men on a podcast format.
A medium that
You know
never
what
really
the
got
beauty,
started.
years
the
old,
beauty
yeah.
of Switzerland is that the medium will stick around for another 10 years.
Thank God for that.
It's so great. Switzerland is always like this lag of 10 years to
Uh-huh.
understand that something's good,
Mhm.
or also to hold on to something that's no longer valid.
You can predict the future, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So podcast should come into fashion about
now.
Yeah, around.
Yeah, it's
We're
about
gonna
now.
be killing it.
I'm
yeah,
so excited.
in
Very soon.
about 2 years, we
Yeah.
might actually make some money.
And then they'll discover that we've got this wonderful archive of material.
Dude. We could delete
Oh,
half.
shit. I think we could delete all of it.
Yeah. Any plugs, people?
Oh,
Yeah, bitches. Go on.
7th of August is the Comedy Clinic back at Abriatus. I'm learning to pronounce that place. Had a lot of fun with the last show. We had even a special guest, Barry Hilton.
Fuck,
So
I
let's
hate that
see.
you can say that.
What?
I hate that you can say that. It's so cool.
It's fucking...
He
I'll
was,
show you the
was
vid-
amazing.
Why didn't you come to the workshop,
My
man?
tooth was being pulled out that day. I was in so much pain. I missed out on.
The workshop was phenomenal. He was such a... This guy was a dude. Like,
He was the first comedian I ever saw.
oh, man.
I know.
So what Harry is trying to say is, if you come to Comedy Clinic, you might actually see a legend, because it's none of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, agreed.
Or the future legend of Dean, basically. Before he became a legend.
I'm not on TikTok. I ain't no legend.
By the time Switzerland buys the rights to this podcast from us, you will be a legend.
Yeah, the nation of Switzerland.
Exactly. Swiss heritage created by... They'll discover that you're a...
Back to the plugs. So
national
you say,
treasure. Sorry.
when is it?
7th of August, the Comedy Clinic. Check it out on In Your Face Comedy on Facebook, Instagram, even meetup.com.
Oh, wow.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
Wow, Harry. That sounds like so much fun.
I wanted to make it sound like one of those American breakfast shows. It's like,
let's do that.
oh my God.
That's very
Okay,
awesome.
that's
And
how we
now
do
to the
plugs
weather.
now. Christian, what are you up to at the moment?
So after this amazing casserole, I want to talk about... on September 29th, we are going to have English stand-up at Volkshaus, ladies and gentlemen. I've pushed this on this podcast a bunch of times. It's going to be an amazing show. We have 4 incredible acts coming to Zurich for one night only. Buy your tickets on Eventfrog. It's called the Comedy Gala, 29th of September.
Wow, that sounds like a lovely evening. especially
Wow.
especially that you get to listen to English comedy in the Volkshaus.
Wow.
That's a special moment
better
in
than
Swiss
a-
history.
Yeah, it's better than the father of the Russian Revolution. He used to go there. Lenin.
All the time.
Oh yeah.
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 So you're playing in a room full of communists.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
The
In Zurich.
Commonwealth lives on.
In Zurich, the majority of our expat community in Zurich identifies as
Yeah,
communist.
for sure.
So Dean, what are you plugging?
Well,
Apart
thanks.
from the hole in your jaw.
Yeah, that's plugged with like gauze and. Ugh. I guess the only things I want to plug right now are my Instagram accounts because I want followers. Because clearly the only value to life is followers. At Dean_Ira_. That's my normal account. And then follow at We Must Loot. It's all the
We
cool.
must loot, yeah.
Yeah, at We
That's-
Must
You
Loot.
got some really cool shit out lately.
Yeah, lately.
The gun
I've been-
looks awesome. The little duck.
Thank you. I've been pumping out some really cool stuff. I've been creating some high end loot pieces, exclusive, very very limited edition, all of them for sure.
And I'll give it a little testimony. It got me laid.
It's the dream.
It's
of,
also special when you're like over a woman and Dean's We've Got Loot. It's like between their breasts.
hanging there, yeah, and
And
shit.
then you have
hers.
to take it off because it's annoying her.
Yeah, I've made them a lot tougher now, so you can probably pull on them and choice.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyway, follow at We
It's
Must
a
Loot.
sliding scale to sex toys. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was our plugs. Thank you very much. We
Thank
are
you.
back.
We're back.
We're back. This is the warm up episode where we just sit around complaining, and after we've done the complaining, and just have a normal conversation.
I wonder if anyone's still listening.
Just our exes.
Just gathering notes.